Disneyland California's Magic Key annual pass program was met with mixed reviews only a few short weeks ago. Now, Walt Disney World has introduced their new annual pass options to what seems to be a similar response. What has changed since the last iteration? And are Disney World's annual passes still worth your money? Today, I will try to answer just that. Alright, first things first, I'm only going to break things down for us non-Florida folks, since I think Florida residents can decide for themselves what works best based on how close they live to property, how often they plan to go, which blockout dates matter and which ones don't, and all that. Obviously, if you live in the greater Orlando area, the lowest pass option having half the calendar year blocked out might not matter as much to you as it does to someone coming from, say, Pensacola, who will have more logistical things to consider like booking a hotel. For us non-Florida residents, the expensive price tag of our one annual pass option is why I think most people clicked on this video in the first place. Let's start with the cost. There are tons of videos, blog posts, etc. about the new passes, but one thing I haven't seen done all that much is comparing them to the options we had before. The sale of Walt Disney World annual passes was suspended along with the park closures in March of 2020, and that option remained halted except for renewals for those who already had them when the park reopened 4 months later in July. Starting September 8th of 2021, after 18 months without them, the next generation of annual passes are set to launch. Now, if you had bought an annual pass in early 2020 as a non-Florida resident, you would have had two options: the Disney Platinum Pass and the Disney Platinum Plus Pass. For $11.95, the Platinum Pass came with no blockout dates, the option to park hop, unlimited PhotoPass downloads, discounts on most merchandise, discounts on some dining, and other extras thrown in like pass holder only merch, special access and/or discounts to events, periodic discounts on hotels, etc. The Platinum Plus option included all of that, plus the water parks and sports option, for an additional $100 or $12.95 total. How does the new option compare? Apart from allowing you 5 park reservations at a time, the most offered in any of the new annual pass tiers, for $12.99, the Disney INCREDI-PASS gets you basically everything that was offered before, but the PhotoPass and water parks and sports options are now an additional $99 each. So that means that to have your new annual pass be equivalent to what you would have had before, you'd need the Disney INCREDI-PASS plus the PhotoPass add-on at a total price of $13.98 to equal the same as the outgoing Disney Platinum Pass that sold for $11.95. For your new INCREDI-PASS to be apples and apples the same as the Disney Platinum Plus Pass, you'd have to add on both the PhotoPass and water parks and sports options for a grand total of $14.97 compared to the previous $12.95. This increase might seem like a lot, but it actually puts both options on par with what we've seen for price increases in the last several years. Also, something to note is that on top of the 5 park reservations you can have at a time, Disney has said that bonus days will be offered throughout the year that won't count against the allotted 5, and that you will also be allowed an additional park reservation for every day you stay in a Walt Disney World Resort hotel. It's also important to note that allowing PhotoPass and water parks and sports to be separate add-ons, they can now be added to lower tier passes, which wasn't possible before. Now, is it worth it? That depends on a lot of factors: how often you visit, how many days at a time you stay, how big your family is, how much merchandise and food you buy, etc. For me, I usually visit Walt Disney World 2 or 3 times a year for a minimum of 5 or 6 days at a time, with 1 or 2 other people, or even by myself. With a park hopper ticket, that means that I can expect to pay about $110 per day on average. I don't care much for PhotoPass. Since one of my focuses on going is creating content like this, taking photos throughout my vacation is becoming second nature to me. I also rarely visit the water parks, the mini golf courses, and/or the ESPN complex when I go, although that might change as the demand on this channel grows. So, at least for now, the base $12.99 is what would work for me. I've only ever flown there, so the parking perk doesn't mean much, but I do buy food and merch every visit. So, as long as I go at least 12 days a year, which I tend to do and will now be motivated to make sure of, the annual pass I'm eager to buy will be worth the investment. Disney has definitely made some questionable choices lately, and some cuts have made it seem like we're getting less of an experience for more money. So I can see why there may be criticism of the new annual pass tiers. All I can say is do your research. Map out what your annual Walt Disney World plans would most likely look like. Tickets can be a huge expense if you visit often, but it might not make sense if you're a once-a-year visitor. Do you drive or fly? Do you buy a lot of food and merchandise when you go? There are a lot of factors to consider, and trust me, the Disney finance team has sat down and worked out a million possible scenarios to try to make it so that they're offering a deal while still maximizing profits. Annual passes make sense for some people, but for a lot of folks, paying per visit is probably the way to go.